We now go into the scene where um, the brother Vincent gets this chess set. Why is it that Amy Tan decides to discuss this Christmas party and how they got the chess set? Well, first of all, you have to understand that the first Chinese Baptist church is not a Chinese invention. It's an American invention. When we talk about missionary ladies, we're talking about Americans who feel that the Chinese are in a way inferior, that their religion is inferior, and that they have a job to convert the Chinese to their church. So it's a reflection of America's attitude to the Chinese in the 1950s when this book was written. And these ladies are sitting there with gifts that have been donated by members of another church. And there's Chinese parishioners that have Santa Claus costumes. That have a Santa Claus costume, which is kind of ridiculous, really, because the Chinese don't have Christmas at all. Um, and there's a funny comment here. I think the only children who thought he was the real thing were too young to know that Santa Claus was not Chinese. So the kids are all very wise and they know that Santa Claus isn't Chinese, but nonetheless, these missionary women try and do their bit. They feel sorry for the Chinese and they want to give them a nice party. And and they there's this Santa man, there's a Santa Claus who asks a question, and she thinks it's a trick question. And again, you've got the image here of Mamie being the one in the alleyway. She's between the two worlds. So she's asked, "How old are you?" And she was 7 by the American formula and 8 by the Chinese calendar. So she's thinking, this is a trick question. How old am I? I mean, how old is she? She's got 2 ages. So she gives a neutral answer and she gives her date of birth. That seemed to satisfy him. Okay, again, she is trying to figure out what the rules are. Everyone in this story is wants to know what the rules are, understands that they have to operate according to the rules. And then we have he then solemnly asked if I had been a very, very good girl this year, and did I believe in Jesus Christ and obey my parents? And I knew the only answer to that. I nodded. I knew the only answer to that. She says. I nodded back with equal solemnity. Now, is she doesn't care whether it's the truth. There's no religious belief in this story. She understands in order to get the present, she has to give the right answers. So, and now she's got to figure out which gift is the best gift to get, because she sees that some of these gifts, even though they look big, they weren't so great. Like one looked very big and it was a coloring book of biblical characters, which isn't a wonderful gift. And then somebody got a smaller box and it had a lavender toilet water, which is perfume. And also she has to know that the sound of the box is important. How it sounds could give an indication. So, and here you've got a boy who is very disappointed with his present, because he thought it was full of dimes and nickels and it was only full of pennies. And the mother slaps him on the head and leads him out of the hall.